Bang. I sat up, heart beating hard. Pablo's room was full of flames, but I could feel no heat. Bang. I looked out the low window. The air sang with sparks flung like a handful of rubies against the night. Bang. It was Lupe's birthday fireworks. I could smell them, smoking sharp, tingling my nostrils. Sulphur, Lupe told me, is what makes them explode. I lay back down. The fireworks were over in another 3 bangs, painting the room blue and gold. As the last one fizzed away, I heard whispers, low and urgent, filtering beneath the closed door. My heart leapt as I heard the tap-tap of Dar's walking stick, and then the rumble of his low voice. You're sure she's asleep, with all that racket? I squeezed my eyes shut. Whatever Dar was about to tell Masha, he didn't want me to hear, which meant that it was probably something I desperately did want to hear. I heard the door creak open a fraction, then close again. Fast asleep, I gave her something to help. Thank you, Masha. Does she know about Kata? Asked Dar. I clenched the sheet as the mention of her name. Yes, I wanted to wait for you, but Pablo told her. Dar let out a long breath and there was a low mumble that may have been Pablo apologising. She's all right, said Masha soothingly. Where have you been? I tried to send word, but Masha waited. I waited too. Dar cleared his throat. Senora Feliz told me Isa had been taken home safely, so I joined the search party. What about the curfew? The governor's not looking. We had to do something. He didn't even cancel his daughter's birthday fireworks, raged Pablo. What kind of a person does that? Masha made a shushing sound. Where did you go? She asked Dar. To the orchard. We weren't allowed in the forest. Why not? Interrupted Pablo. If I just killed someone, I know where I'd go. Hush! Masha scolded, but Pablo pressed on. His voice all edges. Adori doesn't care about Kata, does he? Pablo! Masha's voice was fearful. It was dangerous to accuse the governor of doing wrong. People who did so found their livestock vanished, then appeared in the governor's field, or found their drinking wells sullied with mud. The boy's right, said Dar. Adori's not doing anything, and I agree that whoever did this is likely to have crossed through to the Forgotten Territories. Are there any clues? Masha asked. I crept out of bed and closer to the door as Dar lowered his voice. They found marks around the body. Looked like claw marks to me, but there's no dogs big enough. Deep gouges, thick as my thumb. Maybe the murderer scraped the ground to cover his tracks. I couldn't listen any longer. I threw the door open. Dar and Masha were sitting together at the kitchen table, with Pablo standing by the window. Dar stumbled to his feet, his bad leg collapsing slightly. He was dusty all over, with shadows under bloodshot eyes and red ink stains on his shirt. But he was here. He was safe. I ran to him. Who did it, Dar? Why isn't the governor looking for who? I forced myself to say the words, for who killed Carter? The 3 of them were looking at me with the same expression as if they understood something I didn't. My cheeks grew hot. Someone needs to do something. Enough, child. I flinched and swallowed my questions. Dar never shouted. Let's go, he said curtly. We crept the few metres home in a deep silence that was nothing to do with the curfew. I carried Pep into my room and listened to Dar tidying up. When he came in, I pretended to be asleep, but he can always tell. I'm sorry for shouting, Isa. I shouldn't have, I just... He sighed heavily. I'm tired and sad for Carter. Does that make sense? I made a small noise in my throat. I thought maybe I could say sorry with a story, he said. Pep mewled grumpily as I rolled over to face Dar. Why won't you tell me what happened? How about Arinta? It was my favourite tale, the myth of the saviour of Joya, and even though Lupe teased me for being too old for bedtime stories, I loved hearing it. But I wasn't done being annoyed. I rolled back over and Pep hissed. All right, Dar sighed. I'll let you get some sleep. Before he could stand up, I put my hand out behind me. I suppose a story wouldn't hurt. He sat back down, and when he spoke, I could hear the smile in his voice. Arinta was a brave girl. She lived at the centre of Joya 1,000 years ago, when it was free from the earth and sailed the ocean like a living ship. There were no forested border, no forgotten territories, and songbirds sang in every tree. But one day, a fire demon that bubbled beneath the seabed noticed the beautiful floating iron and wanted it for himself. His name was Yot. He was the length of a river and as hot as the sun. He built a column of rock to climb through and caught Joya, attaching it to the seabed. The people of Joya were afraid. They knew he was going to claim the island for the Fire Realm, and they would have to leave their home. Arinta was sad. She loved Joya, with its forest and sea and songbirds. So that night she stole her father's sword and crept out of the house to where Yot was rumbling the earth, readying himself to swallow Joya. She journeyed underground through a waterfall, drenching herself in the water to protect herself against the flames, and walked until she arrived at Yot's lair. She called out. Yot heard her, but did not stop rumbling. Arinta did not give up. She attacked the rock walls with her sword to set the sea on him. Yot became afraid. He could defeat rivers, but the sea would swallow him up. He agreed not to take the island if she stopped. They swore to these terms, and she left the sword embedded in the rock, so he knew she was keeping her promise. Dar hesitated. I think we should stop there. But you always say you have to finish stories, even if they don't have happy endings, I said. Even though I had heard it so many times, I could say the words along with him. He spoke fast, the words blurring into each other. But while Yot was a lazy demon, he was also a proud one. He did not want the islanders to know a girl had outwitted him, but he could not destroy the island, for oaths bound demons for a thousand years. Instead, he sent his fire dogs after Arinta, and they chased her through the tunnels until she got lost. Arinta's father searched and searched the tunnels, but she was never seen again. Some say she became the river itself, others that she is still down there, her spirit making sure Yot keeps his promise. Either way, Arinta looks after Joya, her sacrifice gift more powerful than any fire demon.